Hey everybody, wanted to wish everyone a happy new year. Probably an abbreviated video this week. Really no sense in previewing the Patriots game because it has no bearing on the playoff situation for the Bills. Really the only thing it does have bearing on is the number one overall pick. So I would expect the Bills to win, despite the fact that Josh Allen may play one play or three plays or one drive or what have you before turning things over to Mitch Trubisky and potentially even Mike White. But I would expect the Bills to win, just because I don't think the Patriots will forego the opportunity to possess the number one pick, whether they want to take, the Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter or trade it to somebody looking for a quarterback for more picks. That might be more beneficial to them because I said this in recent weeks, the Patriots are kind of just lacking studs. They need good players. They have just a lot of blah going on. They have something really nice, I think, in Drake May, and they have something really nice on defense, I think, in Christian Gonzalez, but I think they could really benefit from picking up additional picks or simply maybe just getting a weapon for Drake May. And that could be Travis Hunter. That could be free agency with T. Higgins or something like that. There's a lot of different ways they could approach it. But if I were them, I would want to have the number one overall pick, and that's hard to tell your players because how do you send them out there to lose? But maybe you just coach the game a little bit differently. But if you're Gerard Mayo and you don't even really have any assurances that you're going to be the head coach next year, maybe you approach that differently as well. We've seen things like that in the past as well. Was it Lovie Smith with Houston or something like that? Something to that effect, right? Somebody remind me. Remind me in the comments. Somebody won a game late in a season one year because they knew they weren't coming back and they cost that team the first round pick, or the first overall pick, I should say. Anyway, the Bills dismantled the Jets on Sunday. I mean, just picked them apart. It was a little bit of a slow start, 7-0, 12-0 at halftime, and then the wheels just fell off for the Jets, as they always do. It has been a fun year just reveling in how bad the Jets have been, considering they were thought to be a perennial Super Bowl contender. Nobody could have imagined it going this poorly for them. But, again, they're the Jets until they prove that they're not. I think I might have even tweeted that before the season began. They're still the Jets to me, the bad, disorganized Jets. And that is true until they prove otherwise. So there's a lot to, I'm not going to go through what they need to do, but there's a lot to unpack there. A fun game to be at, of course. I mean, when you're up 40-0 against a division rival, just a blast, especially when you know how much it's bothering their quarterback and their very famous quarterback, their very famous owner, their very famous team, really, in a huge market. Just awesome. That's really all I have to say about it. The Bills came out of there pretty healthy. We did hear about Terrell Bernard sustaining a quad injury. He has been limited in practice this week. They're going to hold him out this week, of course. They're probably going to hold out a handful of starters. Of course, you can't hold out everybody, but I would expect to see, at least 3 backup linemen in there. You're going to have to get some starter, probably like a guard like Osiris Torrance or maybe even Spencer Brown at tackle is going to have to play the whole game. So you just fingers crossed that they come out of that healthy as well. But maybe they just go with like Edwards and Torrance or something like that. I would expect to see a lot of Keon Coleman will probably play, a lot of Curtis Samuel, assuming that he's active. He was also limited in practice. But a lot of Quentin Morris, on defense, a lot of Joe Andreessen, maybe Eddie Ulofoshio. That's how that's going to go. Backup corners, Kaiir Elam. We heard that DeMar Hamlin and that Taylor Rapp are going to play a little bit. I think that's just, they have to play a little bit. They don't have to, I guess, but like I said, you can't bench everybody. You can't just rest everyone. You can only make, 6 guys inactive or something like that and call up 2 practice squad players. So maybe that'll be a swing lineman, an extra defensive back, or something to that effect. Really what this weekend comes down to is just the results of the other games. You have the Bengals and Ravens, of course, playing on Saturday. The Ravens, not each other, but the Ravens are playing first. So a lot of people are kind of upset about that because the Ravens are expected to smash the Browns. Even though the Browns did beat them earlier this year, but that was with Jameis Winston, and Baltimore at home. I mean, let's just be honest. What are they, like 18-point favorites or something? Just unheard of in today's NFL. A lot of people are upset because that might change the approach for the Steelers. And I don't necessarily agree. Because if you're the Steelers, and even though you find out you can't win the division before your game starts, you might still want to avoid Baltimore in the first round. I know you're the Steelers, and you're going to put on this big, tough front. And like, well, we've beat Baltimore this year. They're our rivals. We want them again. But let's be realistic. It's better to go to Houston than it is to go to Baltimore. So I think they're going to try to win and maintain that 5 seed. I think the most important part of the scheduling was that Denver and Miami didn't play before Cincinnati. So that's why they're on Sunday. They're playing the same time, 4 o'clock on Sunday. Tua isn't playing. That's, unbelievable. Wow. Can't believe the downfall of Miami there. Or Indianapolis, for that sake. Come on. The stars are aligning a little bit for Cincinnati to make it. I assume they're going to win on Sunday or on Saturday night. I'm just going to assume that. Pittsburgh is reeling a little bit. Cincinnati is not. I know they're division rivals, but Cincinnati needs the game. That might not be the best way to look at it. I'm just expecting Cincinnati to win because that's why I said the most important thing was keeping, for the NFL, was to keep Miami and Denver playing at the same time and maybe Denver playing after Cincinnati. So Denver knows what they need to do. If they put them all at the same time, they could have done that. Of course they could have done that. But they couldn't put Denver before Cincinnati because then if Denver loses, then Cincinnati's like winning in, possibly playing with Miami. It just, I'm fumbling my words here a little bit, but do you understand the point I'm trying to make? Denver's winning in. So it was important that they were kind of last in that situation, or at least playing at the same time as Miami, who just needs that. Cincinnati needs Miami and Denver to lose, so that's why they're first. I think that's how that works. I think most fans understandably want to avoid Cincinnati. Again, it's not like a fear of Cincinnati. It's really not. It's just good strategy to avoid the best quarterbacks for as long as you can. The Bills locked into the 2 seed. Assuming Baltimore wins, that means a Bills win and a Ravens win on Wildcard Weekend would assure that Baltimore comes to Buffalo. This is how the playoffs work. You have to play the good teams. But I really have not much else more to say. Let's just, fingers crossed, the Bills stay healthy this weekend. I'll pick a score, sure. Bills 19, Patriots 16. I just, whatever. I'll talk to you guys next week. This is just like a holdover. It's almost like a bye week. It's a preseason game. Next week, the real thing gets started. The playoffs, again. Guys, hit me up on Twitter. My Twitter handle and YouTube username are the same. Enjoy your weekend. As always, above all else, go Bills.